said and everything, but it'll be a little bit different. But today is all about getting to know everybody in the class, getting to know yourself, and learning like what kind of leadership styles you have. And then the more that we go through, we'll have sessions on the whole public safety, economic development, workforce development throughout the Tuscaloosa County. So I'm not going to sit here and talk too much, but I think a lot of you all got to meet your chair during the interview process. So Shay Lawson, she's been very devoted to Leadership Tuscaloosa. She graduated in 2007, and so glad to have her here and help guide you all. So if y'all have any questions, y'all can reach out to me, reach out to her, and I'm going to let her take the floor and then go from there.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Shay Lawson. I'm excited to see you all here. In case I didn't meet you during the interview, as Alicia said, I graduated Tuscaloosa, or Leadership Tuscaloosa, as you know, from Southern, so I've been around the block a few times. I've been helping with Swim Talk every year, so that is my special part of Leadership Tuscaloosa. That's next month, and you're going to love it. So we just can't wait to be able to experience Swim Talk together. That's kind of where you really learn about yourself and learn about your classmates and what it is to be either very selfish or not selfish, all in between. So anyway, today is your getting to know each other day and kind of talking about your Leadership Tuscaloosa project, class project. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with last year's class project, the New Hoops for New Heights that just got, they just had a groundbreaking or the reception for it. So that was an amazing project. I know y'all can do better. Now y'all are gonna want to like, can't wait to hear it. Come on. But anyway, I'm the CEO of the Tuscaloosa Association of Realtors, the West Alabama Multiple Listing Service, which is a real estate trade association here in Tuscaloosa. Prior to that, I was a private practice environmental attorney for 16 years here in Tuscaloosa. Graduated from Alabama, graduated from Alabama Law School, so I've been here since 1992. I'm really excited for all of you to experience Leadership Tuscaloosa. It is a privilege and honor for you all to be a part of this. I'm so excited to share this journey with y'all this year. You're going to learn so much about the community, parts of the community you never knew about. You're going to learn how you and your talents and your business and your knowledge and your expertise can make this community better, how you can fill a void, how you can fill a niche, and how you can help build Tuscaloosa and make it a better place for everyone who lives here, for everyone who may live here, for people who are like our Mercedes, our Hunlow, our DCHs, who are recruiting new people to come to this community. You'll learn how to showcase Tuscaloosa, how to make it better, and hopefully this is a fabulous time to be here. So thank you all for being here today. I know one of the questions in your interview is if you could make a wave a magic wand and you could make any problem in Tuscaloosa go away without money issues or politics in the way. And I love that question because I always call it the magic wand question. So what I want y'all to do this year is envision making the magic happen. What is your magic? Let's make it happen. So I'm excited for this journey. We're going to get started. And my co-chair this year is Jasmine Rainey with Visit Tuscaloosa. Super excited to have Jasmine with us. So, Jasmine.
Good morning, everyone. As Shay said, my name is Jasmine Rainey. I serve as the Director of Tourism at Visit Tuscaloosa with Chelsea Martin Kelly. So we do have a Tuscaloosa person in the class this year. And echoing everything Shay said, Leadership Tuscaloosa is a wonderful program. I graduated in 2018 from the program. I currently serve as the chair for Leadership Tuscaloosa Alumni Association's Adopted School Committee as well. So we're trying to bring Leadership Tuscaloosa Alumni Association back in the ranks. Karen Thompson Jackson is leading that effort. So my hope is that once all of you graduate, you will keep the charge going and join the Alumni Association. And what I would like to ask of you is to get out of this program is to make sure you make connections. I think that's the one thing that I wish I would have been more intentional about when I was in the program. I think it's easy to gravitate to people who either you already know or you have done business with before, or even people that kind of look like you. So I challenge you guys to get out of your comfort zone, get to know your classmates. You never know where your next business opportunity might come from. So
universities, if the restroom is just outside of these doors, you need to use the restroom. Of course, help yourself, I guess, to any of the remaining goodies from this morning breakfast. If the coffee runs out, there's actually a Keurig machine out there that you're welcome to use, and water. I think you have plenty of water, but if you need that, do not hesitate to get that. Um, as we move into today, tell you a little bit about myself. This time last year, I was just starting this journey full time with becoming a leadership strategist and coach, but I've been doing it for a long time, 30 something years, working in every company. But last year, I went to work, doing a great job, I thought. And there were some changes, and those changes put me in a position that I had a choice of whether I step out into my calling or try to go back into and just keep doing the same old thing that I've been doing. And I chose to start Empowerment Leadership and People Solutions as a leadership strategy company. We have three goals: build better people, stronger teams, and a championship culture. And it sounds like your leaders, they have a little hesitation about challenging you guys. So I think they want to kick the, not just last year's class, every class before you, they want to kick your butt. So I think you guys better get ready for that. This is an intimidating group. You know why? Because you're the best of the best. And when you talk to the best of the best, you know, I look at Daniel Truelove, and he can come up here and do this better than I can, you know, and Jack Hudgens, and so I go, whew, and it's the DA, and so don't want to say it, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to get in trouble, you don't want to miss things. But anyway, you're amongst the best at what you do, and you've been chosen for a reason, and I'm just glad to be a part of this journey. But I do think that as people, we sometimes get so caught up running our life that we forget to live it, that we forget to maximize it, that we forget to take time to connect and get to know people. And how many of you would say, man, there's a time in the past that I was part of this group before, and you can remember them, you can remember the impact they had on you, but you can't reach out and connect with them. You would love to have them as a part of your life. You would love to be a part of their life, and because you didn't take full advantage of it, you're now missing out on something. But they're also missing out on what you bring to their life. I believe we're all a puzzle. I believe we're all connected. I don't believe in randomness and coincidence. I believe that you are here for a reason, I'm here for a reason, and I believe we all bring something to the table. And I hope that as we go throughout the day, I'm able to help bring some of that out and helping you understand yourself better and understand each other even better, especially as you go. I've heard that at the end of this class, it can get kind of intense. Have y'all heard that? Anybody heard that? Because this is a room full of leaders who all submitted a project. But there's at least 4 people, maybe 5. And so somebody's going to walk out of here what? Disappointed. Like my project is the one that would beat them, right? So and then some of you, this is going to be the fun part. To watch the person who didn't submit anything, but be the loudest. Right? You know? Well, what we need to do, right? And all of those things happen when you get a bunch of, don't get offended. You get a bunch of dogs in a room together, right? And what I mean by that is a bunch of people who are leaders, who are called, who are challenged. But if we would learn to take that and use that together, you know, to empower each other and to push each other and to challenge each other, how much better would our world be? If just this collective room, I wish I could look out everywhere I go in America and see what I see right now. Old, young, black, white, rich, poor. I mean, I don't know about poor, but you may be. But my point is, every type of person is in this room, but we're here for what? What are we here for? Where's your goal? So somebody said leadership Tuscaloosa. Well, what does that mean? Huh?
To better our community.
To better our, who said that? To better our community? What are some of your other goals? To better your community? What does that mean? Network. But let's go back to what does better your community mean? To be a voice for the community. What is it? Huh? Leader for the community. What does that look like? You know, and I agree with both of those. But like when I pastor my church, I always tell them, you know, when I say stuff, you're always thinking about somebody else that needs to do it versus putting flesh on it. So what does that look like? When you say I want to better my community, what does that look like? Seeing blind spots? Solving issues. We're not making a difference. Solving issues. Solving issues? Huh? Raise the floor. What does that mean? Let me help y'all with raising the floor means. We have a coach on campus that everybody last week was on fire. Do y'all realize that he beat the same teams he did second week? Did y'all realize that? He beat Georgia, LSU, South Carolina. Right? He beat all the good teams. So the ceiling is still here. The problem is he lost 4 games to unranked teams, and then Saban took 230 games to do that. So a lot of times we're so focused up here that we lower the standard, and what we don't understand is if the floor lowers, what happens eventually to the ceiling? It either gets unreachable or it lowers as well. So that's a great point. At least we should be about raising the floor, raising the standard. What are some other goals?
Giving back.
Giving back? How does that look? How does that look like?
Giving with your time, your resources, your energy, your experience, knowledge.
Time, talent, and resources.
What was that? Networking.
Okay. Go back. No, come on, talk to me. Hey, teacher, I brought up something you skipped it. Networking, right?
So, like, I had a friend of mine a couple years ago. He came to my class that I used to work at, and they talked about net weaving. So it's not just like networking, net weaving. It's the ability to like weave webs for people, so that you connect people that you need to have a connection with. So we're on this room right here, right now, and we may never ever be the person to work with each other, but because of the fact that I know Sam right here, Sam may need to connect with somebody else I know in Dothan or another area, or in Tuscaloosa, so that way you're meeting your way of people that you're trying to live off and you're trying to work. So once you start doing that, you then help communities, help people out that you need to know that you need to help.
Right. Now, did you know Sam before that?
No.
Okay. So, now you know Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who do you know in here, Sam? Do you know anybody?
I know him. I met him.
So coming into today, you didn't know anyone in here.
I know a couple. Bradley Porter, I know Bradley.
Okay, and stop. Bradley, who do you know in here? So now, who else did you know? Okay, now, what happened here? That web what? Appeared to stop, right? I said appeared to stop. Appeared to stop. Now you know them, right? What's your name? Anissa. Who do you know in here, Anissa? Now watch this. Who knows Gavin? Who knows? Now watch this. standing. If you know the person that stood up, stand up. If you know anybody that stood up, stand up. If you know somebody that's standing, stand up. If you know somebody that's standing, stand up. Is anyone left? All right. Now, we got one person in this room that says he doesn't know anything. Right? Was he in your interview? Did you interview him? Did anyone of y'all interview him? Huh? Right? So they interviewed you. You know someone standing. See, did you notice that? He said he didn't know anyone standing. But the reality of it is, the person who knows everybody in this room knows him. He ended up saying he didn't know him, he didn't know anybody in this room, but the one connection he had has all the y'all's information. And the reality of it is, he can go to her and get to who? Everybody. Right? Right? But that's how, to your point, networking. And here's the thing. For Leadership Tuscaloosa, this is just one piece of the web. This is not all your connections. Because every one of you is one person from everybody in this room. Knowing someone that somebody in this room knows. You don't know who you're right next to. You don't know who you're connected to. You don't know when investing in someone else is going to lead to that big breakthrough that you need. You can all sit down. Sorry. So, any other goals anyone wants to hit before we get out of today?
I got one more.
Okay.
Self. Yeah, I really want to learn about self from learning from leadership. So that's
Dealing with self, that's part of what we're going to talk about.
It's not really a goal, but it's the feedback on something that someone else said. You're talking about making the community better. The thing I love about Leadership Tuscaloosa is that when we think about making the community better, we all have different ideas of what that means. Based on our perspective, based on what's most important to us. This gives us the opportunity to say, okay, this is necessarily my individual idea of what it means to make things better, and what does it mean for us to work together to actually make that thing happen. So better in this sense is what do we decide on better is, and we move toward that together.
Yeah, so when I ask the question, hey, we want to make Tuscaloosa better, what does that look like? Well, I could change the people in this room and come up with a totally different answer. Right? What Tuscaloosa, making Tuscaloosa better is going to come down at the end of the day in one way, as a group, you're going to have an opportunity to do a project that the goal is that collectively you all make Tuscaloosa better, right? And now, let me ask you, I asked about the program instead of what you want to get out of today, but let's get down to professionally and personally. Is there a difference in what you want from Leadership Tuscaloosa than what you want professionally and personally? Someone say yes. Why? What's the difference?
So, on a professional level, my goal is to understand the community better so that I can better serve the resources that I have as a professional. But then I have a personal goal of understanding the workings of Tuscaloosa so that I can bring it back to the community I serve at church to serve them better. So
Same goal. Different goal.
Yeah.
Same goal. Right? Your heart is to serve. Learn better how to use what you have to serve. Anyone else, professionally and personally, what's your goal? Is there any?
Staying the true active impact no matter what I do, no matter what I'm on, producing personally and professionally.
Have y'all noticed, and I can look at the whole room, and most likely, you may have a few goals that are just strictly personal, like, being a better husband would not be a professional goal. Right? But anything when it's outside for myself, they probably should look similar. Because if we see someone who has professional goals and hierarchy, and everybody hype them up, but then they don't have personal goals, what do we call them? Don't say it out loud. But you understand, when those, it doesn't matter what I ask you, but we as sometimes as people do what? Segment those things and don't see back to his point. We don't network our own life, right? I mean, we're literally 4 different people. I get people all the time having, and I'm saying 4 different people today. In this class as an individual, that's one personality. In this class as a group, that's one personality. And how you function and roll may be different. As a professional, the company that sent you here, that's one personality. And then as a personal individual that's here, that's another personality. So as you go through, what do you have to make sure? You better try to do the best to merge them together, or you'll be schizophrenic. You'll be all over the place, and you'll be frustrated and inconsistent, and you won't understand why. And the goal of today is to try to help us get there. I'm ready. All right, so what I want us to think about as we move throughout today, that we're building something individually and together. We're building something individually and together. We're one massive organism with individual parts. So as we work through today, and I teach today, I want to talk with you about who you are and also about who we are and work through that. I have learned over time that we all need coaches. Some of you may have came in today and thought, man, this is going to be just another one of those days. And it may be. It may be just not again. That's what you can walk away with. It won't be your coach's fault. but you can walk away and receive hardly anything. At the exact same time, someone else will walk away with something totally different. So much more. When you, and I apologize, I'm a former football player, sports just makes sense to me, it helps me to understand things. And how many of you watched Alabama against Florida State and made the statement, man, they just didn't have any energy. They. Well, did anybody see Jeremy Bernard get 150 yards receiving? So, not they, some of them, right? But it was the same team, same game, same quarterback throwing to them. But one guy balled out. One of the most intense guys that we talked about over the whole offseason was a young man named Ray Hubbard. But he was the one that the whole social media world called because of his lack of engagement. So my goal today for you to start today off is that you be fully engaged. That you be fully engaged. That you decide up front that you're going to go all in. That's my goal. So I do a little exercise. If you've been in one of my trainings, you've done this, don't cheat. Just follow the instructions. Don't get ahead. If you've never done it, it's going to show you the value of coaching. If you would take a moment and everybody raise your hand as high as you can. Both hands. Give me one more hint now. Put your hands up for a second. How many of your hands went up a little bit more, right? But I told you what was the instructions to begin with. Raise your hands as high as you can. All right, y'all ready to try it again? Raise your hand as high as you can. Some of y'all have been in my right? But the whole concept there is we as humans naturally keep a little bit in reserve. We just naturally do. How many of you have ever read the miraculous story where a car fell on someone, broke one, and the little lady who can't pick up a bag of groceries goes out and lifts the car off? That person. Now, did that young lady all of a sudden get some booster steroids, muscle injection, or what? No, something was already in her, and something external to her inspired her so much that it caused her and gave her the ability to lift that car. And we read stories about things like that all the time, but we don't think of that when it comes to our daily life, our professional life. What are the things that would cause us to go all in? We have a world championship boxer who was working on a beer truck, and I'm not dogging his job. I'm saying he's working on a beer truck. He had a daughter who was sick, and then he became a world champion. He's also the only person I've ever seen get up on water skis the first time he ever tried. Well, first of all, he's crazy for getting on water skis, but I'm sure he was. But do you understand? We all need coaches, but we always think it's someone that comes in like me. What if I told you there's 45, 46, 48 coaches in here besides me? There's 48 coaches in this room besides me. But we don't always function in it. And so I hope to help us get there today. I'm going to talk to us about a few things. The power of an inch. You know, in the game of football, it can be the difference between winning and losing. It can be the difference between keeping a drive alive, keeping something going, keeping momentum going, and not. I had the distinct privilege when I played for Alabama. We were playing in the national championship game against Miami. And the game could have been over, should have been over, but you can always lose when there's still enough time on the clock for your opponent to come back. And we had a 4th and inches. And coach comes to me and he says, Coach Solomon says, can you get the first down? And I said, yes, sir. Yes, sir, I can get the first down. And we can keep the ball and go out and run the ball. He said, you sure? I said, yes. And so I get ready to run out on the field. And he said, that's my fear. You don't come back to this side. So, like, he'd been coaching me the whole time, right? He prepped me the whole time. But what did he give me right before I left? Gave me just a little bit more what? Inspiration. So when I got out to the huddle, I was 100% fully engaged. And got hit in the backfield, rolled off the guy, and got the first down. The rest is history. But that's how important what? 1 inch can be. It can be the difference between keeping the ball or in terms of life, keeping going, taking the next step, right? Or it could be in track. This is the difference between gold and silver. How many of you saw some of the Olympics where you saw, like, literally, one guy won because at the last second he was running and stuck his head out. And he literally won by nose. Right? But there was a difference between gold and silver. But that gold and silver, you say that's the difference. But what's the difference in someone who has a gold medal as an Olympian versus someone who has silver? Legacy, earning potential, all types of things, doors that open when you go out and gold medal. 1 inch can change your life, your whole trajectory, everything. So go all in. And what they used In tug of war, there's a difference between standing tall and falling down. I promise you, every one of us in here have been pulled and tugged. Pulled and tugged. You know, I didn't finish telling the story, and I'll work it in as we go, but last June, when I went to work, I was the chief growth officer for a financial institution. And we had grown from 11 branches to 27. We had gone from $1 million negative to, was on track to make 7.2. And we went from $500 million to 1.2 billion. They let the CEO go, who had been there, he had been there, I think, going for his 9th year, and I was going toward my 8th year. They let him go, and 20 minutes later, I was called in, and I was let go. That was a tug. Yeah, you know, and if you had asked me, I was as successful as I'd ever been, making more money than I'd ever been, and boom, just like that, it was a tug. It was that one inch. And how I responded made all the difference in the world. Did I tug and fall, or did I say, no, this is not going to defeat me? And I locked in and said, what do I do now? And that's what we have to do as individuals and as people. By the way, you can take all the notes you want, you can take pictures all you want. At the end of all of the presentations, you'll give me some feedback, help me to get better and grow as a speaker, and you'll get every slide, all the information. So, leadership is no different when it comes to the 1 inch that can change everything. You've heard me say it a couple of times. Most of us focus on ROI. I guarantee you, when your boss sent you here or whoever was paying, they were worried about the reason they don't send people. The reason people, you know, have to wait their turn is the owners are going, man, what am I going to really get on that return on that investment, right? So there's a lot of companies in Tuscaloosa who never sent anyone because they don't think that it's worth the investment. But what if I told you we need to change that to return on engagement? Return on engagement. Think about the stock market. If I give you $1,000 and give someone else $1,000, and one puts their $1,000 in the stock market, and the other one puts their $1,000 in the stock market, and one of them stays engaged, which one do you think is going to have the best ROI? The second one, right? Isn't it interesting? Everybody wants to reach ROI, but they don't think about the ROI is impacted by the ROE, the role of engagement. If you look at a farmer who refuses to plant, he can have the best land in the world. He can have the most nutrient-rich soil in the world. But if he don't engage and sow seeds, when it's harvest time, it doesn't matter how rich it was. So it doesn't matter how good Leadership Tuscaloosa is. It doesn't matter how much time these ladies and all of the other people associated with it have invested in this program. I promise you, there's enough record in history that says Leadership Tuscaloosa is a good program. There's enough evidence of that. But there are people who walk out of here, who finish up 9 months from now, who don't have a positive of what they got out of it. I'll be willing to challenge them to sit down and have an exit interview and say, what did you put into it? What was your engagement level? What did you expect to get out of it? Did you go all in? Did you fully engage? You know, like Kelsey. Y'all made it. I was trying to just say his name, and none of y'all, they were vested for a while, right? Now they're engaged, right? I think. I'm gonna have to check myself because that's the second time in 1 week that I've used a Taylor Swift reference. Are you ready to be iced? Are you ready to be fully engaged? I'm going to give you 3 words. 3 words that I think will help you be fully engaged in what we're going to talk about and what we're going to do the rest of this time. What was it you said? Someone said be intentional in the intro. Was that you? It said be intentional about connecting. Yeah. Intentionality. Intentionality. Leadership doesn't happen by accident. It's intentional. If you want the most out of today, this program, you have to show up with purpose. Your starting point will determine your end point. Where you start will determine your end point if you stay with it. If you stay with it. So, John Maxwell, last week, we had our annual conference as part of his coaching certification team. And he said, you don't ever see anybody, doing a video. Wow! I don't know how I became so successful. I just woke up one day and very close. Anybody ever seen that? Even the person who wins the lottery had to do what? They had to go out and buy a lottery ticket. So you don't accidentally get there. Let's look at a couple things to be intentional about. Be intentional in a relationship. What is your name? Sadar. Hey, listen, you're all in my stuff, right? Be intentional in relationships. Connect deeply. Connect deeply. Don't just, what's your name? I'm bad about that. You're always busy. You're always going. And you don't take time to connect deeply. John Maxwell says everything rises and falls in leadership. I agree with that. But I have another saying that I think empowers that. Leadership rises and falls on relationships. You can take the best leader in the world, if he has no relationships, who is he influencing? No one. No one. So connect deeply. Take time to connect with each other. Don't assume anything about anyone in here or what they can't do for you. When we worked at, David and I worked together, there were people who would walk in to the credit union. You would literally think that they had nothing. And then you would type in their account. And you're like, why do you have $1 million in your checking account? And we're laughing. But it's true. Like they would come, and you would never assume, you would never think anything like that. I used to be a part of a ministry that we chartered a cruise ship. We chartered the entire cruise ship. And cruise ship was our transportation for missions to the Bahamas. So everybody that would be on the cruise ship were on the mission. We'd get to the island and we would do a mission trip and a big concert and speak at all the schools and all of that stuff. We went to see a guy who asked him for $5,000. That was our goal. He stopped us and said, can we use my bank? And we were like, use your bank? Yeah. Sure. Before it was over, he'd given us over $4 million. Right? Relationships. Connect deeply. We connected with him on what our mission was. It was something he had been wanting to do, and he saw somebody with feet and hands and eyes that could accomplish it. And he went all in. Connect people. Be intentional in learning. Ask questions. Take notes. Lean in. Don't just let it pass by. John Wood, one of the greatest coaches of all time, won 7 consecutive NCAA titles in basketball. I think he won 10 overall. Used to say, "It's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference." It's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. So anytime I feel like, okay, I really have this, I really understand this, I get really excited. Because I know that if that's a true principle, that next thing that I learn about that totally takes it to another level. Totally gives me a totally different experience. But you have to lean into that. Be intentional. Don't ever stop learning. If you ever stop learning, you will stop leading. Especially today, because the young people will pass you up. They have more access to knowledge and information and resources that we used to have to wait a lifetime to get. They can simply type in a prompt and get access to it. So as leaders, we have to keep leading, keep learning. Showing up. Be intentional in showing up. Participate fully. Participate fully. I made a note here. Showing up is, let me ask you that before. What does showing up mean to you? If I say show up, what does that mean to you?
Being present, engaging in conversations and what's going on.
Being present, being actively engaged, and yeah. What else? Active listening. Giving your best. What else? Preparing beforehand. Preparing beforehand. Really? I wasn't disagreeing with you. I didn't have that down. I'll have to add that to the notes. Being contributing. So can you do what Marvin just said? What's your name? Chris. If you don't do what Chris said, it's harder to do what Marvin said. It's harder to contribute if you've not what? Prepared, right? Unless they talk about something that you are already familiar with, just from life experience, which is possible, but it's better to be prepared so that you can actively listen, engage, and contribute. I had a couple other things. I said showing up is about authenticity. It's about emotional intelligence, right? Showing up ready to go. Like, how many times have you gone somewhere and before you got there, you're already mad? You're taking your kids or your grandkids or you're going to somebody, you have to do it, you know you have to do it, but you get there and the whole time and that's where you show up. There's a lot of people who show up, and guess what they do? They leave and go, man, that was a waste of time. Duh! Yes, it was a waste of time because you were not emotionally intelligent and you were not connected. You were not showing up ready to be a part of what's going on. And you definitely did not participate fully. Courage and accountability, all of those things, modeling behavior, service, accountability, you all be a part of showing up. Be intentional in perspective. I'm going to go back to my man. I told you he could be teaching this class. Daniel, Junior, you said earlier, what did you say about what's there? And some of you, like I said, if you've been in my class, you know the thing. But from what you can see, what covers my hand. By the way, I've been black for 55 years. So Someone said light brown, little peaches, cream. It's brown. My hand is obviously brown. All of you guys are wrong because my hand is obviously brown. Huh? What color is my hand from what you can see? No, it's not. It's kind of peachy red, lines in it, and I can even see an M and an H in it. Now, who was wrong in that story? Was I wrong when I said brown? Were they wrong when they? Well, somebody said. Nobody in here said. Somebody said black. I'm like, it's black. I didn't say what race is my hand. Right? I mean, we laugh about that, but when you're answering questions and you're giving perspective, and you go, what color is my hand? You go, black. Think about you're communicating, and I'm going to get to this. You're communicating with someone that doesn't really know the English language that well, and all that, and you say black. They're going to be confused, right? But both of us were correct. Watch this. How do we fix that perspective? More detail, communication. Watch this. Watch this. If you're telling me, if you're telling me that that's the color is, then I'm going, it's obviously brown. If I do this, I go, oh, wow. That's why they're describing my hand that way when I look at it from their perspective. So I can either come to their side or watch this. Now you can see both at the same time. And now you can have a what? Conversation. It leads to, well, if you're going to explain it from the side that we titled the poem, then the color is this. If you're going to describe it from the side that is the top of the hand, it's this color. But you cannot just, you're wrong! And that's what we do a lot of times instead of taking time to do that. So you guys do this next 9 months need to take time to realize that there are people in this room that will say something that you may totally disagree with. And they may be 100% have their heart in the right place. But they have no perspective from the way where you're coming from. If we would learn to just lean in on perspective and be intentional on perspective, it would solve the majority of the issues that we face in our society. If we could get all of them. No, come on, I'm just kidding.
I mean, like, I think perspective is a great to have, but like, if your mind, if you don't show up, like you said, to learn, to build a relationship, to have open mind, then like your perspective will never be a season of perspective.
Right.
I think that's when we have issues with perspective, is that we are showing up to have open minds to see a perspective.
Yeah, just looking at it, I could look at it and go, they're wrong. I can look at it and literally see what they're seeing and choose not to what? Learn and engage. And I still won't see what they're talking about. Right? We're going to talk about limiting beliefs. I'll just tease you real quick.
Now, I thought that I think it's challenging to have perspective. And the reason why I say that is because like most of the things that we do throughout our day is on autopilot. We're not really thinking. We have a routine, and even when it comes to perspective, the way we get to our perspective is that we have environments that we're raised in, we have beliefs about those things, becomes part of our identity, and our behavior we just continue to show up that way. So now, the way that I show up, I believe is the right way. So for me to have a perspective is me to think that what I believe is wrong is actually right, and that's how we go.
Yeah. Y'all are like, I some lesson. I'm here to give you what you need to be the best version of yourself. So you bring up, so let's go there. Limiting, I teach something called limiting beliefs in the simple constraints. Okay? Now, first of all, let this sink in. They say that we get somewhere in the neighborhood 35, 40, 45,000 thoughts a day. Maybe more. And there usually 3 to 5 words per thought. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You'll fail. 80+% is negative. 80+% of your thoughts are negative. Right? Most people don't go around going, I'm telling you, great things ahead. Today, look out, baby. Championship on, you know, you're like, how did I start the day off? How did I start? You're intimidating, right? That could have been a negative if I'd allowed it to. But instead of allowing it, I said, man, I have to be on my QQ, but this group is good. And a couple of them know more than I do. Maybe all of them. Right? So that's the way I had to approach it. So it made me go in more probably than I would if I'm going to speak to a bunch of people. Now I try to do my best at all times, but sometimes that external thing causes you to give what? One more inch, right? So limiting beliefs, think about this to Daniel's point. Limiting beliefs are things that you have been taught by the words that were spoken, the condition you were raised in, the outside noises and influences that you've had in your life. You can take a kid who's never done anything and start teaching him and give him hope that he'll change the world. Because he begins to believe because you remove what? His limiting belief. You can pick the wealthiest guy in the world and strip him of his everything that he's done, and he'll commit suicide. Why? Because somewhere, way back when he was a child, he got a limiting belief about, even though he's had success. So the thing about limiting beliefs is they are not just in one area. In other words, when it comes to speaking, I may be like, yeah, but in another area, I'm like, man, I can't do it. I'm afraid. I can't. And so we have to understand that our perspective is so conditioned by those limiting beliefs. And you have to challenge them. You have to challenge them. There are limiting beliefs that are associated with people, race, age, education, etc. I was in a training class many moons ago, and it was a technology class I used to work for Bell South / AT&T, and I'm a computer nerd, and I'm just a nerd that was blessed to play football. And so I love like technology and stuff. And so we were in this class, and man, I was killing it in the class, and there was another lady, and some of you young people may not even know this, but who remember Texas Instruments? Right? Yeah, right? Texas Instruments. And she had joined the company from there, and she's been in it 20-something years. And I'd never worked in the industry. And so we're competing for who's going to be number one in the class. And I make a 98, and she makes 100, and that separates us. The review, they're talking about the class. We're sitting around, and one guy goes, wow, man, what your accomplishment in this class was impressive. Next guy. It's crazy. We hadn't seen anybody that was brand new to the industry do that well. Third guy says, man, you did really good for a football player. And showing up, standing, emotional intelligence of 24, it may not be as good as it is now. And they saw me, and I was like, when he said, I was like, this, when he said it, I like literally, I didn't plan to, I wasn't going to, but I just like rose up like, give it all. And they said, you did well regardless of what your background is. Your background has nothing to do with the level of your achievement. But what did that guy have to learn me believe? How do you think football players performed if they had to go to work for that guy? No matter what they did. So you can have limiting beliefs that may not even be challenged until you find yourself, because I was the first football player he had seen in class. So he had formed an opinion about athletes. It wasn't football players, just athletes in general. He had formed an opinion. He had a limiting belief. Now that's bad because that's external. But what if it becomes internal? That's when it becomes dangerous for you. See, I love for people to doubt me. I love to be challenged. I love to be said, so you can't, you won't. But that was partly because of the way I was raised. I was raised by parents who said, well, you can. You can overcome. You're not limited by where you were born, your race, or anything else. So I love that time. But what about a kid who wasn't raised that way? But what if you're on the other side? What if you determine that there's people who are less than you, even when they succeed? You'll still look at the hand and go, it's Brian. It's Brian. And they're steady succeeding. That's our challenge in our society. We have assumed constraints, and I'll make this quick. I mean, this part later. Just I'm not going to go, make sure I go over assumed constraints later, okay? Because it ties into this, but I want to back up, because I'm only on Be intentional. Be intentional in legacy. What do you think I'm doing about that? Be intentional in legacy. What do you think that is?
What people remember you by when you're gone.
What people remember you by when you're gone. And I'm not trying. I'm not trying to be ugly when I say this. But sometimes when I'm talking to people and we're having an intimate fellowship, intense fellowship about faith and different things and living and loving, and I'll tell them, don't make me live your life so I don't have to lie. Live your life so I don't have to lie at your. Man, and you'll see them go. Because it makes you think. It makes you think, what if what I'm putting down, if people talk about that when I'm gone, will they be able to talk about it or will they have to lie about it? That's a legacy. John Maxwell said, determine what's a one sentence statement you want people to say about you when you die. I had a mission statement when I was 19. My wife and I went to a marriage conference. I got married at 19 when I was at Boston University. And we went to a marriage conference, go every year. But in this one, they said, write a mission statement for your marriage, for your life. And my mission statement for my life is, if someone meets me, their life is better off having met me than it would have been otherwise. So it forces me to notice people, serve people, love people. And I wish I could say I've been perfect in that, but I haven't. But I try. Like I really, like when I meet someone, like I'm restaurant and I see a college kid, my question to them is, what do you want to do? And I don't know. And I'll always have a follow-up question is, what would you do if you knew you wouldn't fail? And you go, then I'll lean in on that and teach them and say, step into it. And if it don't work out, come back and do whatever else. But don't have this passion that you want. Yeah, let me say this here. I always have to tell them. And if it's about being on American Idol and you can't sing and your grandma and your mom, the only two they ever told you can sing. Singing is not, being next Taylor Swift or whatever is not in your future, right? But you understand what I'm saying when they give you like, what do you want your legacy to be? How much time have you spent thinking, being intentional about your legacy? You have to do that. If you're going to give your best, you have to do that. The C is for commitment. 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 Commitment to excellence. Lombardi and Saban said, I didn't know, I used to always give Saban credit, but I saw where Lombardi said it first. He said, we will pursue perfection, and in our pursuit of perfection, we might just catch excellence. If we miss perfection, we might just catch excellence. Whatever excellence is, if you've not seen excellence, find someone who does what you desire to do or who you desire to be, who do it at a level that you would do it at if you could. And then raise the bar. But if they've done it, you can do it better. Right? That's how you define excellence. Go after it. Don't settle. If you miss it, you're still going to be better off than most people. I'd much rather fail on a goal of 9 than hit a goal of 5 over and over and over. I'd rather be hitting at 7 because I was trying to 9 than hit 5 over and over and over. Because eventually, if I keep going at 7, it's going to be 7.1, 7.5, and 7.9, and 8, and then I just keep going until I maximize my potential. And my potential may not ever be a 9. But when I walk away, I want it to be as good as I could be. That's excellence. Consistency. 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 Inch by inch, or how many of you ever seen the thing a penny a day? If I offered you a penny a day for the next 31 days, or I offered you $3 million today, which one would you take? I'm going to give you a penny. I'm going to give you a penny. I'm going to give you a penny today, and you can take it, but every day it'll double. It'll go to 2 cents, 4 cents, 8 cents, 16 cents. Check my Alabama math. 32 cents, 64, 128, right? So, what's her name? Kiani said, but what about that 30 days? She is 100% for who? No, I'm just kidding. She gets on my class and make me have to keep on my feet what she's doing. So her perspective is, I got something I want to do right now. So if I have something I want to do right now, I'll be a penny and 3 million. And I'm the only one that can do that. And I want to make it happen. Then I'm going to take 3. But what if I'm part of a group, part of a team, part of my family? And my vision isn't just about me, it's about my family. Same vision, it's just not about me. Which one am I taking? Why do you think so? Hold on, guys, hold on. So what if I told you you can make that $3 million by putting it in a will? Would that change your perfected potential? Because in one way you're saying by the way it's going to be 10.7 million in 31 days. It's doubling every day. It's doubling every day. It's 10.7 million in 30 days. This is not like the 30-year billion lottery where you get 400 million. Now I understand your perspective, but if it's a group thing, it's a family thing, and I can still make my wishes come true, I'm probably going to choose for my family. And if I'm here 31 days, I'm going to feel it right. With 10 million, I'm going to take 3 million and just spend it on me. Then take the other 6 million, right? It's just really based on, back to our point, guys, it's based on what? Perspective, right? So what happened when Kiana said 3? Did I just say, well, our lesson is this? Or did we have a conversation? Did you see the difference? Now my goal was, she messed up my class. No, but that's what it's about. Is if I give you the million, I can give it to you. Some people want it right now. Now there's another one. Y'all want another perspective? What if I told you today I'll give you $3 million today? After tax. But if you get the $3, you want the $3 million? Okay, yeah, I do. You want to know the contingency? You die tomorrow. You would take $3 million and die, knowing that you're gonna die tomorrow. So why? Now watch this. Now, do y'all get conflict in what you just said? Why would she die tomorrow for $3 million, but she wouldn't take a chance of putting it in a will for 31 days? But you can have a plan for a will. And it's 10 million, right? You see the difference? Like I said, I'm gonna give you $3 million today, but you're gonna die tomorrow. Who would take the $3 million today and say you're never gonna die tomorrow? Okay. That's it. Why would you're gonna die? But here's the thing. Why would you not take it? I can make $3 million tomorrow. If I'm here, I can make $3 million for the next 10 years. If I'm here, so why would I take $3 million today if I'm going to be gone tomorrow?
I think the first perspective that was based on time, which is that I'm going to be able to experience this living. I'm going to take it right now, and I think that I want to do. Next one, like that time is now taken away, and so but she did seem like it changed, her decision as it relates to what she wants, but
so you better be committed to whatever your decision is, right?
Brother Houston, can I just say, for your math, after 31 days, it's actually 21,474,836.
Well, actually, I did day 1 plus then 30 more days, so you're right. Yeah, I did day 1, and you did
31.
I don't know if 21 million changes the answer. To me, it does.
But hey, put it like this. Either way, it's a lot of money. But the whole point behind that is consistency, guys. It's better to be consistent, do it a little bit every day. Just keep going, and we'll do it. I'm gonna like, who knows what time? All right. Resilience, and I'm gonna teach you a little bit more about that later on. But be resilient, guys. Don't get out when it gets hard. Everybody can do it, but it's easy. You cannot tell when someone is committed when it's easy. People who you think are all in until they hit a roadblock or difficulty, you don't know that they're committed. You don't know if they have resilience. Resilience means that you have the ability to bounce back. And if you're committed, you're going to bounce back. You're not going to, it doesn't mean you don't take a setback. It doesn't mean you don't have to reset. It doesn't mean you don't have to recreate. But you have to have resilience if you're going to make it bounce back. Okay? All right. Accountability, we'll talk about that a little bit more. Be accountable in terms of ability to be counted on. Ability to be counted on. Are you committed to the point that those around you can count on you? That's accountability. But the other side of accountability is to be held to, what is his name? Skinner is that floor or the standard. When there's no accountability, the floor does what? It lowers. It gets lower and lower unless someone is holding others accountable to a standard. And then commit to the mission. What's your mission? Why are you in this class? What's your mission? What's your life mission? What's your mission in every area of your life? You should have a mission. And then commit to it because it's difficult. Life is a full contact sport. And it'll hit you at the least opportune time. So let's just commit to it. All right, and then we'll go through this really quick. From ROI to ROE, it's these 5 things to me. If you want to be engage your mind, go all in. Stay curious, want to learn, seek to know more. Be curious about others, like to learn more about other people's story, to learn more about other people's business. Let them be the central theme of the story. Engage your heart. The scripture says the issues of life flow from the heart. When we talk about, man, they stole my heart. What does that mean? That means that they captured me. They did what? They engaged me. So choose to do that. How many of you make people earn trust before you trust them? And I'm not. I trust you until. Now guess what that does? Ooh. It makes you vulnerable. You get exposed. You get hurt. Right? But you know what? The other side of it is, man, I have seen some unbelievable turnaround stories because I chose to believe in them and no one else did. I chose to engage them with my heart and say, I'm with you. You haven't shown me anything that I should, but I'm with you. Engage your voice. Speak up. Speak up. And in this class, I haven't had any issue with certain people speaking up, a lot of people speaking up, but I want to encourage all of you. All of you. The eyes, speak up. Speak up. Your voice matters. What you say matters. Don't ever underestimate the importance of what you have to say. Share. Engage your hands. Be active, man. Be active. Act out. Do something. Volunteer. Participate. Engage. And then engage your spirit. Bring your passion. Bring your passion. If your project doesn't get picked or a project that you search and ask, how can I use that and still engage my passion? I'm not passionate about the overall project, but what if there's something in that project that you could take, or that the original project was meant for, but you bring that passion to that other area, and instead of being reaching this group of people, you're reaching this group of people plus this group of people, because they may not have the same perspective and the same need that you see. Bench warmers don't change the scoreboard, playmakers do. So, all right. Key takeaways: don't just go through today or this program, grow through it. Don't settle on ROI, maximize ROE. Don't hold back. Be all in, guys, from start to finish. Give one more inch of intention, commitment, and engagement. And I will close with the story of the pig and the chicken. They're walking down the street. And what happened? Saw a sign that said, breakfast, help needed. So the chicken like, hey, let's go help them. So they go in and they ask the owner, said, what do you need? He said, I need eggs and bacon. And the chicken said, hey, let's do it, let's go. Pick the whoa. Hold on. Just a minute. He said, you only have to be involved. I have to go all in. Be a pig today. Be a pig today. Go all in. Hey, listen, we're a little bit off schedule. Like I said, I'd rather be off schedule than you get what you want out of the class in the teaching. So we'll go ahead and take a break here, and then we'll come back in just a moment. So all right. Thank you, guys.
Project discussions at the very end. I got